welcome back to Studio Chatter. Connie Sokol is here with us. Where did we leave off?
Talking about the limbo land.
Yeah.
Okay, I talk to a lot of women. I've been working with them for 20 years, and I see lots of similar patterns, and this is a very familiar pattern. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the book. It's by Gay Hendricks. It's called The Big Leap. Have you read that? Oh, so good. But he talks about when we move from our different zones. So he starts with a zone of incompetence, zone of competence, zone of excellence. But then he says the biggest, like when we move to a different zone, we give ourselves a little pushback because we're going from what's familiar and what's, even if we don't like it, it's still comfortable to a degree because it's known.
That's so where you are.
So known, you know what to do, you know you can do it,
Doing
right?
really good at it.
Doing really well. So you've moved from incompetence, no, maybe. Incompetence, right? We all start there, like, what am I doing? And then competence, and then excellence. That's where you can do it in your sleep. It's good. It's in a good mood. When you're moving to your zone of genius, that's the sweet spot. And that's where our soul yearns to be, but our mind goes, wait, that's so scary. And you can totally fail, and it could be so humiliating. And what if you toast it? You know, like that's those things that we get pushback from ourselves and then from others. And we have what's called, he calls it an upper limit problem. So it's called an ULP, an upper limit problem. And what happens is if we don't acknowledge this, like you are beautifully doing, if we don't go, why am I sucking down Ben and Jerry's? This is my third time. What is going on? If we don't acknowledge it and sit with it for a minute, then what we'll do is we'll sabotage ourselves or we'll allow others to do it. So this is such a beautiful spot for you because then I would encourage you, go back to the quality of life that you are defining because then you have the motivation to say, but I want that more than I want to be uncomfortable with this. So I'll move through.
Ew, and this is why we need a Connie in your life to come and remind us because I can't even tell you. This is so true. I can't even tell you how many times I have referenced in my life, like, when I've said that we're not in that season of our life, we're not in that season of our life,
you totally
or you just give them some chocolate and you just say we're not doing that, we're just not doing that. Yeah, it works. You know, whether it works or it's not, we're not there. We're not there this year. We're not doing that. You know, because there's different stages, and it may or may not be working, or things are comfortable or not comfortable, or it's not working for me. It might be working for you. It's not working for me. And when you finally come to that realization, so I'm in a different place, but when you finally come to that realization and then take those uncomfortable steps to get past that, or then you do find that joy. Yes. And then maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's why I'm finding that tingle or the happiness or you know.
Yes.
And so I don't know if anybody cares about my word, but my word this year in particular is transition.
Ooh,
so transitioning out of, you know, the kids are in a different place. I'm in a different place. It's the moving, whether it's a good move or uncomfortable, or it's just, you know, things are in motion. So
that's a good one, Natasha.
I love that. And these words, and again, not to, you know, denigrate anything about words. It's the focus, the stressful focus on it. But I have words. I have 4 words. And you know what's interesting is that I didn't even put pressure on my kids to come up with words, and they've come up with words on their own. I know another friend of mine came up with ease and flow. And to watch how this has shifted her, she gets kind of high energy, and then she takes on other people's stuff, and then she gets herself kind of overcommitted. And now she feels responsible, you know, for everything. And now she's been able to just ease into it and say, I'm just going to go with the flow here. I'm going to ease into things. I'm not going to take all the responsibility on of other people's stuff. It's been amazing to watch. So I love that you led right into the 3rd step, which is to take a step, and you're doing it, and not to stop. Like Tony Robbins says, we usually stop 5 feet from the finish line of the actual place we want to go.
That's
and
painful.
we're right there. And I've seen that. And in fact, there's a story, it's a true story of a woman, I can't remember her name right now, but because I wasn't thinking of sharing this, but she was swimming the English Channel to do the record.
Yes.
Do you remember that one?
Yes.
And she was swimming, and then the fog rolls in, as it does in England, if anyone's been there. And the fog rolls in, and she's swimming, and her mother, her family members were in the boat by her. They're like, you can do it. And she got so tired. And then with the fog rolling in, she couldn't see the destination. And do you remember? She was just finally, it was so painful. It got so painful. She was like, I can't do it. When the fog lifted, she was just, a mile or something. She was very short distance from her ultimate destination. So kudos to her. She went back and did it again. Oh, it gives me goosebumps because I'm thinking, the training for that. But she went back and did it again. And guess what? That fog rolled in again because it's part of the package deal. But she was wiser now, like we are through these stages. And so when it rolled in, she was like, and in her mind, she kept that vision of what she wanted to do in her life, what it was going to be like, and where she was going. And that's what we can do. It's our life. So she was like, that's the destination, and saw through the fog. And that's what we have to do through these upper limit problem fogs. We just go through and then we just cut through it.
Cut right through it.
Yes, by keeping doing it. Stay the course and keep doing it. And you just acknowledge those feelings. You go, oh, I'm feeling that rumble again. I'm feeling that. I don't want to do it. I'm afraid of that whole change. I don't know if I feel like I can be duct taped to the wall when I come home with my kids, right? I'm going to become the shriveled up in a row person, right? But then you can go, oh, I can take a step. I can make time for me. I can say, oh, it's half-hour book time. Mom gets to read a book too. You know what I mean? So you put those markers in place so that you solve the problems rather than being afraid of the shift.
Right. Thank you. That's so true. I got this.
And there, you know what? It takes a village, and there's resources everywhere. And really quickly, before we run out of time, let's talk about the women's conference coming up.
Yes. Oh, I have two beautiful things.
Okay.
The first thing is, if you want more of this, I have actually a free webinar that talks more in depth about this, because then women go, yes, I want to know more about, like, how can I do this with my life? And then it's like, what do I do now? So it's taking the next step. It's talking about the habits, creating an environment that will help you be successful and encourage this rather than, okay, I feel good tonight. And then tomorrow I'm like, I'm back to the same spot. So if you want that, it's a free webinar. Go to ConnieSokol.com and it's free. You can go on there. Great, juicy stuff, just like we're talking about. So excited. I love helping women make those shifts, because then their family shift and their coworkers and their community shifts. Everybody shifts when a woman shifts. It's wonderful. And then the other thing is our You Got This Women's Conference. If you remember last year, took a big leap of faith, overcame our hopes, and we did this conference that people said is not going to be successful, and 600 women came. And then we did the sister one. We did a smaller, intimate event, sold that out at 300 women, and now we're doing the big event again. It's in March 23rd. Get your ticket. It's interfaith. It's faith, family, and community. Solving your life challenges all together, women of all backgrounds. And then you walk away with hope, tools, and connection. So it's not just blah, blah, blah. It's interactive, connecting, loving, sharing, and getting the tools that you can put right into your life so that things can shift.
And that's at UVU again?
That is going to be at the Utah Cultural Celebration Center up in Salt Lake, which we thought was beautiful, to emphasize the interfaith and diversity. So beautiful.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you so much.
This was so many resources. Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good to have you here.
Happy New Year. Thank you, you too.
There's more studio chatter coming up.